expected to step down as calls for Vice President Kamala Harris to step up grows even stronger. And, while she's not the choice for the majority of voters, she may be their last option. In fact, I don't think anybody really wants Kamala Harris to be president of the United States or even to replace Joe Biden. But now, just imagine this, a White House with Kamala Harris as president. I mean, word salad Kamala Harris. I mean, there's talk within the House of Representatives that Kamala Harris should act now before time runs out. Representative Chip Roy recently filed a resolution calling on the vice president to convene the cabinet and declare President Joe Biden as unable to carry out his duties. Roy is saying that the 25th Amendment applies to our situation today. It was ratified back in 1967, and it would enable Kamala Harris, together with a majority of the cabinet, to essentially place her as the acting president. Many people are looking at this switch to, be like the lesser of the two evils, although a lot of Democrats actually freaking hate the idea. I mean, this means that no matter how bad the president looked recently on TV, it just doesn't compare to what's happening or what would actually be coming if Kamala Harris takes control. Now, both Biden and Donald Trump pointed at each other when it came to, a discussion of who was the worst president. I mean, we all saw this on the debate. By the way, if you guys haven't already, hit the like button for the video, subscribe to the channel. See a bunch of y'all coming in the live. What's up? What's going on? The Awaken. We got Damon Gore. We got Fed Up Patriot, Gary DB, Jacob Bartlett. Awesome guys. Scott Hill. But yeah, I know that this comes down to a matter of, opinion, but a lot of people are calling the Trump term as the good old days. And this kind of already answers the question. Real quick, was when Trump was in office, would you refer to that as the good old days? I'm just curious, guys. Which kind of leads not just me, but a lot of people to ask, why is President Joe Biden still running in the 2024 presidential election? I mean, especially when he looks like he did on stage. Take a listen. And keep in mind, this is a left-leaning news outlet.
Biden, and I want to just play this clip because this just showed the gentlest little niggle where Donald Trump was pointing out to the whole audience, the whole of the US and indeed the free world, what was going on here.
And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we can do with more border patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
Yeah, it was pretty gentle. It was pretty telling. And it was a good performance from Trump, wasn't it, Kristen?
Yes, very restrained. He did have some great moments in there, but overall kind of a boring debate performance. But that was what was so key about it. If this election is a referendum on Trump, Trump loses. If it's a referendum on Joe Biden, Biden loses. And because we're all talking about Joe Biden, it's kind of becoming a referendum on him. Nobody's really talking about Trump. He was very restrained, and he kind of let Joe Biden expose himself for how weak he is, both physically and mentally.
Well, let's go back to the ramifications from all this. And first up, I want to show what Joe Biden had to say about the debate the following day. This is pretty telling too.
I don't walk as easy as I used to. I don't speak as smoothly as I used to. I don't debate as well as I used to. But I know what I do know. I know how to tell the truth.
Yeah.
Oh boy, that was pretty bad. Number one, I really hope that Joe Biden doesn't expose himself to us. We don't need any of that. But I mean, it's interesting how the day after the debate, Joe Biden goes on the campaign trail and literally admits how badly he debates, and he just doesn't debate as well as he used to. I mean, this is self-admission, honestly.
There you go. The president basically having to admit his own problems. He says he knows what he does know, which is probably not difficult because it's not looking like very much these days. And then we had the humiliation, really, of seeing Jill Biden, his wife, having to speak for him. Have a look.
Joe, you did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the
facts. Yeah, it's...
Oh man, somebody better check on President Biden because, that scene where Joe Biden raises, it really just kind of raises a lot of questions in that Joe Biden scene. Why is she praising the president of the United States for being able to answer questions, right? Like, shouldn't that be a prerequisite to being a president? I mean, it's almost like Joe Biden's treating Joe Biden like he's a 4-year-old in kindergarten. Congratulations, you knew all your ABCs, you're able to count to 10. You were able to answer all the questions. Wow. Like, president of the United States, unbelievable. But now, we're supposed to be praising him for answering questions. Like, is that where we're at right now? Answers that really weren't even very good, and according to a lot of experts that, analyzed this whole debate. And that's from both sides of the aisle. I mean, you got Democrats and Republicans both saying the same thing about President Joe Biden. At this point, I really think that the jig is up, and they're not willing to cover for him anymore. It's over. It's over, plain and simple. I think it raised a lot of questions, a lot of concerns about the first lady pushing Joe Biden into a race that he can't win. It's just, he can't do it. If someone said, hey, make Joe Biden do 50 pull-ups, he can't do it. This is something he can't do. Some even called it elder abuse because it's pretty clear that the guy he didn't even know what's happening half the time. But here's something that you guys might not know. So Joe Biden was supposedly assuring donors in private that Joe was ready to go. And pretty much, it's been said that she met with the financial bigwigs and assured them that the president was all good. And this happened right before President Joe Biden took the stage for the debate. I guess her claim didn't age very well, did it? I mean, she's also being criticized by others for not asking her husband to drop out of this election. I mean, and one such individual is billionaire investor Bill Ackman. Bill Ackman says that he's stopped blaming the president for not stepping aside. It's clear to him that Joe Biden is no longer having the mental acuity to make important judgments about himself. So Bill Ackman's not blaming Joe Biden anymore. He basically has said, hey, Joe has mentally checked out. We got an empty suit here on our hands. He says that the first lady is pushing for this run. And he made a good argument about this. He's saying the first lady is pushing for president or for Biden to continue to run, essentially citing that she's like really being selfish at this point. And y'all let me know what you think about this. I don't know if you have the same or different opinion. Basically, Bill Ackman is saying that she's going to become irrelevant the moment that they are out of the White House. No more Air Force One flights, no more glamorous lifestyle, no more White House dinners with dignitaries and famous people, no more being treated like a queen when traveling the world. Bill Ackman also pointed out, he kind of called out mainstream media for something that even I was a victim of. So we were told that President Biden was mentally fit, that independent journalists, analysts, and experts around the world, we were all wrong about Joe Biden's condition. The problem with this debate was that there was no possible way to edit it. I mean, it really just kind of exposed what you and I already knew from the very beginning. In fact, Ackman, he said that 60 Minutes knew about this well in advance. This was proven by his interview with them that was highly edited. And the same could be said for the New York Times, CNN, MSNBC. He claims that all of these news outlets have lied to us, and they've been lying to us for a long time. Even when special counsel Robert Hur was trying to tell us the truth. Y'all remember that mainstream media painted Robert Hur as a tool of the Republican Party, right? He was character assassinated for telling us the truth. And, this is why billionaire Bill Ackman is basically saying that we were fed propaganda. They continue to blame the Republican Party for atrocities that they themselves are doing. And it's pretty much all blown up in their faces right now, which now leads me to a very interesting conspiracy theory that I just read about recently. I'm going to share with you guys. But basically, it's being alleged that President Biden actually had some help during this debate. What kind of help do you ask? Oh, I'm glad you asked. Well, some viewers called out the weird movements of the president where he repeatedly seemed to be kind of like touching his right ear, you know? You ever go to the gym, you got the little Bluetooth in your ears and whatnot? Well, some people are saying that this was him adjusting his very small earpiece, one that would have functioned as a communication device where he could hear instructions. Others claim that it was a recording of his notes from when he went up to Camp David. Now, I know it sounds far-fetched to think this, but it really makes you kind of wonder, why did he keep tuning out while why did he keep tuning out while Donald Trump was talking? Sometimes it looked like he was concentrating on something, or I couldn't tell if he was concentrating or spacing out. And I guess if you're kind of like listening to something that you can't really hear very well because your opponent's talking, then you might make a weird face like Biden was doing. He was kind of he's like looking around, and I don't know if he was trying to I'm trying to hear what this earpiece is saying, but Trump keeps talking. I don't really know what was going on there. But speaking of which, the American people should not be tuning out, as we still have a few more months before November. And this is because they're still passing laws under our noses right now, guys, that could literally be affecting our lives. And I talked about it a lot more in a previous video. You guys got to check out that video. I'll leave a link for you guys. But this is definitely one that you should check out because it has a lot to do with the possible war that we may have on our hands. But what do y'all think about that? Do y'all feel like Joe Biden had an earpiece and he was getting, fed answers, or maybe it was some notes from Camp David? Let me know what y'all think. If you haven't already, definitely hit the like button for the video. Totally appreciate you guys. Lawanda, Joe had notes and an earpiece. And it's funny, they're supposed to not have notes. Let's see. Guinevere Cloud says that the Manchurian candidate was given orders and what to say through an earpiece. But, oh, wow, hold on. George Carr says Kamala is a clown show. Bring it on. Oh, yeah. Let's see. They shifted the camera off. They shifted the camera off of him a few times. They sure did. There were definitely points of that debate that were just unbelievably tragic. And you would think that the wife, like Joe Biden, the first lady, would have some level of pride to have her husband put on that display. I mean, you would think that she wouldn't want him to do that to himself, to embarrass the family name to that extent. I mean, but maybe Bill Ackman's right. Maybe it's the lifestyle that she has grown accustomed to, and she's not willing to give it up. She wants to keep riding first class. Forget first class. She wants to ride in the Air Force One airplane as the first lady. And I can imagine it's probably hard to give up. It's hard to give up the mansion that they live in. It's hard to give up, being accompanied and constantly having very fine dinners with, dignitaries around the world, famous A-list actors and celebrities. Yeah, that would be quite the lifestyle to give up. And just think about the social downgrade that Joe Biden would take on. Like, she went from, kind of being a nobody to essentially having relevancy, and to have all of that yanked away. That's a big stab at her pride. Pamela Thompson says it was an earpiece. How many of you guys, just type in down below? I know it's a conspiracy theory, but type in down below if y'all think that Biden was wearing an earpiece. Let me know, guys. Let's see. How about this? Stop riding the gas plane and let drivers drive gas cars from now on. Yeah, they're and I actually saw somewhere, I think it was, I don't know where I saw this. There's a couple more states. We already heard from California pushing for banning the sale of gas-powered vehicles in 2035. I can only imagine how that's going to impact the economy, because I already know, there's so many people who just don't even like electric vehicles. They don't trust them. The distances that these electric vehicles can go is not, what we're used to when it comes to the gas powered cars that we've had for the last 100 years ish, right? And then, of course, a lot of folks are complaining about how expensive replacing a battery is when the battery fails. Y'all know how expensive a battery is to replace one of those batteries on a gas powered car? Take a wild guess in the comments. What's going on, Catalia? So there's that. But I actually read recently that there's some additional states, 11 additional states that are looking to try to get on board, basically saying that, hey, they're starting to release dates on when gas powered cars need to stop being sold, or at least a percentage of electric vehicles need to be sold in comparison to gas powered cars. I think Delaware was saying something like 82% of the electric vehicles, or 82% of the vehicles sold need to be electric by, I want to say it was like 2032. So, a lot of people aren't happy about that. I mean, I even heard that the Dodge Charger, or I don't know if it's the Dodge Charger or the Dodge Challenger, is not even offered in a gas powered car anymore. Like, that's just weird to hear to me. Like an electric Dodge Charger or Challenger is the only option. I would almost just kill the car off. Jacob Bartlett, what's up, man? Thank you so much for the Big 10. Jacob Bartlett says, if California bans gas vehicles, I'm sure the residents will go to other states to sell them to the residents. That's a very good point. Kind of like how Donald Trump is with the abortion rights, and how, the left media keeps kind of, trying to say what Donald Trump is going to do with abortion. But Donald Trump said it a number of times. He wants to leave the decision regarding abortion rights to the states. And so technically, if you live in a state where it's not supported, then you could literally just go to another state and do what you need to do. And I think the same thing would follow for California. That could literally destroy, and that's a very good point, Jacob. That could literally destroy California's economy, or at least tragically harm the dealerships. Think about it. California is a big state, but there's 49 other states that are likely still going to be selling other electric vehicles. And even if all 49 other states aren't selling them, there's going to be some other states that are. And they could literally just say, hey, I want a gas powered car. I don't want an electric vehicle. I don't want a Tesla. I don't want a Ford Lightning. I'm going to drive over to Nevada. I'm going to hang out in Vegas. I'm going to buy a new car over here because they're still selling gas powered cars. And I'm going to drive it back home. And people do this now. Sometimes you find a better deal in another state. And so I think it's very possible that people are like, hey, California doesn't want to sell gas powered cars anymore. Fine. We won't buy them here. And then what happens to the dealerships that can't sell the electric vehicles there? This could be quite tragic. I wonder if Gavin Newsom has really, really thought this through. Somehow I doubt it. Robert Miller, appreciate you, brother. Let's see. Rhonda Fenner says, yes, an earpiece listening to someone. Peter Jellin says, I imagine he was wearing an earpiece. His concentration was not on Trump while Trump was speaking. He was obviously trying to concentrate on another conversation going on. He was concentrating on something, or just completely spaced out. I don't even know. Let's see. What's going on, Keenan? Over $5,000. My sister had to replace one. Can you imagine? And here's the other thing. It really depends on, is your car under warranty? So I'm kind of jumping around because some of the comments are replying to some of the things that I've said. Keenan Ripon is saying that over $5,000. I'm pretty sure he's talking about the replacement cost of a battery on an electric car. He said that his sister had to replace one. And it, of course, is going to vary per car. Like if you have an inexpensive car, I'm pretty sure that the electric battery will be less. If you happen to have like a big old expensive SUV that's all electric, can you imagine the cost of that battery? Sue Scruggs says $20,000. Holy cow. Some cars don't even cost $20,000 for the whole car. And you could literally spend $20,000 to replace a part of a car battery if it fails. That's wild. That's very expensive. Chris 882211 says $15,000. So I don't know. They're gonna have to come down on the cost of these gas powered batteries because people are just not gonna be able to afford it. But anyway, guys, appreciate y'all rocking with me. If you haven't already, do hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'm gonna catch you guys on the next one. Take care.